Hello, hello, and welcome in. My name is Sinith War. I'm an asshole with an opinion. Um, Once again, I've found something by Timcast that I kind of wanted to react to. Uh, I don't remember how much I watched of it, but I'm gonna react to it anyway. I hope you all have been having a wonderful day. Let's get on to it.
So a bunch of woke Harvard students backed Hamas. And for this, Wall Street says that they're going to blacklist them. Oh boy.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't know what's happening with Hamas or Israel. I just don't.
And now there is a panic among many of these students realizing they may have just ended their career by siding with terrorists. And I get it. I know there are a lot of people, they have said, Tim, we're not allowed to criticize Israel and all of that stuff. I'm not a fan of censorship. To certain degrees I am. Like explicit videos of child abuse and things like that, right? There's some censorship, we get it. We're nuanced here at Timcast. I'm not so sure that someone saying, I don't want to hire you is the same as you getting fired for something you said 10 years ago. So,
yeah, I will kind of admit that you're right on that side. It's not a direct comparison because, like, being made to pay for past sins that are so out of date that you've changed as a person is a little weird, idolistic, you could say. And the one where you just don't want to hire, it's just a preference. Okay, this reminds me of back in the days with picking teams for gym sports, right? So everybody knows the trait of there's somebody that's going to be picked last because that's the guy with the least amount of friends and whatnot. And there's a whole bunch of beliefs made up about this singular individual. You know, oh, he's weird or this and that. Well, that's also, ironically, when people talk about school shooters, they talk about the quiet kids. The quiet kids that kids purposely pick on. In the same situation, I can see how the Harvard students are kind of the quiet kids getting picked on. Because they had an opinion that others didn't like. And I'm not for removing anyone because of their opinion. No offense, but everybody has an opinion. That's my intro. And what he's saying, he's trying to justify it because it feels good to finally get something back, right? You see all this cancel culture about you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't say this. And it's like finally we have caught you in your own trap. We have managed to nail you down to the thing you like to do most. And so it somewhat feels good. It's a temporary like satiation feeling. But the cost of that is pretty heavy.
let me break down my position on this and then I'll show you what they said and how they're responding now. These far leftists, for too long have been in these institutions where they have wielded power against anyone who said a naughty word. It was ridiculous. They found out 10 years ago you tweeted something, you're fired. That's stupid. I don't even agree with firing someone for, depending on what they've said now. I think, right, I said this the other day, I was talking about Mia Khalifa. If someone at Timcast said something that was like shockingly depraved, my initial response would probably be like, why would you want to work here? Nobody likes what you said and you just created a bunch of tension between you and everyone else. I don't know that I want to fire someone over this though. We have people who tweet things and I'm like,
see, Tim understands the whole point of free speech and not firing people because of their opinions. And that's why he's at a crossroad. That's why he says one thing, but then immediately flips on to the other side because he's like, finally revenge, basically. And I understand that, and I get that, but the cost of the revenge is now the other side feels justified. It feels vilified to do what it's been doing. It's like, haha, we need to cancel these people because of this. I'm surprised that he doesn't realize that it's another escalation to the situation. Now, a lot of people are like, well, yeah, of course, we want to fight back, but here's the problem, okay? We have been fighting back. Elon taking over a platform. Yes, he's a little bit limited, but, you know, guess what? We're creating companies that fit the ideas of the people who want to fight back. Like I'm not sponsored by anybody, but go figure. But like Pure Talk, right? Pure Talk is a free speech driven cellular company, right? Okay, well then you got that, and then you got DeSantis being in charge of Florida, and then you have Suncoast Federal Credit Union, which is a Florida federal credit union. You hear all these banks canceling on their customers, but you don't hear of the Florida Federal Credit Union canceling on its members. A decade ago, we didn't have these options. Well, I mean, we had the Federal Credit Union, but we didn't really have like another phone, another internet. Well, maybe we'll get another internet provider, talking platform, another streaming platform that met these ideals. And yeah, of course they're struggling, but that's because people need to get up off their ass and actually go over there. That's that's our form of peaceful protest. We are slowly taking over these so-called organizations that are massive in size and have been cancel culturing people. And then I'm also on the fence about this opinion because on one hand, I feel like it's an escalation, but on the other hand, it's kind of peaceful protesting. Just saying that you won't do something, that's kind of a peaceful protest. And it's a really difficult position. Like, this is a very difficult position to have. It's because it's obviously an escalation, but it's also kind of peaceful because it's like, you're not firing people. You're just saying you won't hire anybody new.
Yeah, that's what you want. Oh, it's really funny. Somebody tweeted at me. They were like, Timcast, do you know what Cassandra Fairbanks is saying? And I'm like, Cassandra Fairbanks is one of my best friends. She says a whole bunch of things. Dude, there's no circumstance in which she gets fired.
For those of you wondering, my son made me a eggnog and cookies and cream frozen milkshake. It's actually, you should try it sometime.
For her spicy tweets. Sorry. Just don't even bother tweeting at me. I am very pro-free speech. I am very anti-cancel culture. But I do have my limits as well, because I think it's more about moral lines. If somebody who worked here started posting videos of children being murdered and civilians being murdered, and we're celebrating and cheering it on, and saying really awful things, yeah, I'd probably ask them to leave. It is what it is. Cancel culture, in my...
I'm gonna tell you right now, Tim, that's like the most peaceful reaction that you could expect out of me is just, oh, please leave the building. If I see someone cheering on the murdering of children,
I view it's not about you should never fire someone for saying naughty things. No, and you got people on the right saying like we don't want children indoctrinated. No, hold on there a minute. Some censorship is good, right? We don't want these books in schools. You can't just outright be like book banning is wrong. Well, it depends on the book, I guess. But political messages and certain ideas shouldn't be banned. Children should learn about them. I don't think critical race theory, for instance, should be banned in schools. Critical race praxis.
I think that we should be not necessarily censoring this material, because when you censor something, it just goes underground. Instead, I think that we should be giving it to the parents. I think parents, like, there should be a parental censorship. Maybe there should be a test for parents who elect Democrat. Just joking. I don't think there should be a test for parents. But maybe. No, I think it should be familial censorship. I think a lot of this stems from not only not giving, but taking away a lot of the tools the parents have had over the past decades to be able to self-censor. Like, for instance, injecting drugs into a culture that previously didn't have to deal with any drugs, or barely had to deal with drugs. You know, you're not interested in getting high off of meth if you're getting high off of pot, I'll tell you that. Government trying to inject certain ideologies into certain crowds to keep them separated so that you don't have a United States anymore. You know, we've done a lot to damage the household reputation, and families struggle to censor things. Now, I've gotten really lucky. So I would usually introduce it to him first, before he starts to see it at school, and I would navigate him around what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and why things are the way they are, and why you think they, just a guide. Because I know it's coming. I know he's going to see it. Might as well prepare him for it. But a lot of parents don't think like that. They think, if I stop it before it gets to him, he'll be fine. No. I don't think that's how parenting has ever happened. So a lot of people might be like, well, no, that's not true. But okay, listen. What did you do when you knew that your children might come across a wolf? Did you block any and all information and all side paths to protect your child until the magical age of whatever you say it is that he needs to, or she needs to be able to know about wolves? Or did you let them know as soon as they could be possibly endangered by them about what to do, what they look like, and how to act around them? I'm pretty sure it's the second one. I'm pretty sure it's the preparation one. And I feel like in the past 50 years, somehow this parental shift has happened to where we are more focused on blockading than prevention, right? Just block the information instead of prevent where the information can take you, because you know where it's going to go. And I think that has done a lot of damage to the kids and now adults that run this generation.
Should be. Meaning, at a certain degree, you can teach children what critical race theory's ideas represent, but not indoctrinate them to it. However, I think children should be indoctrinated to American values. Some things should be censored. And even I have my lines when it comes to firing someone over speech. I really do. I think most of you would agree. If you worked at a company and people were posting videos of bodies being burned to death and people screaming and begging for their lives, and somebody was gloating and cheering for it, you'd probably want to fire them too. Which was Mia Khalifa. But I have to be honest, I think when it comes to this conflict, if there was a controversial statement made by someone who worked with me, I'd probably talk to them about it and say, look, man, these are the kind of things that lose the political... I would have a talk with them over it. And I got to be honest, like, I'm pretty... people have said controversial things. I mean, no, I'm not going to fire them. But I have my lines. I have my limits. Let's talk about this. Harvard students will be blacklisted by Wall Street after joining 31 organizations that blamed Israel for the Palestine war. Harvard students have been warned they have jeopardized their futures after putting out a statement blaming Israel for the horrific Hamas attacks.
Okay, so let's walk through this carefully. Harvard students will be blacklisted by Wall Street after joining 31 organizations that blamed Israel for the Palestinian war. Okay, don't know what's going on with Israel and the Palestinian war. Joined organizations that had this opinion. The Harvard students didn't necessarily have the opinion. So now we're blacklisting companies with the wrong opinion? I mean, we're blacklisting those people. So we're blacklisting the companies as well as the employees that join them. That seems very... That's very escalatory. That feels like they're just straight up picking a fight. Billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman is among the wealthiest business chiefs who say they want the students named and shamed so they don't get jobs. Named and shamed. I can see it both ways. I can see how the Harvard students might feel taken aback, because honestly, they probably think, well, this is the only job I could get. You know what I'm saying? See, I have a slight problem with this because, like, as a person who just recently graduated college, I'm kind of just looking for any job that'll take me. And I have a feeling that Harvard students are very much in the same line. And I think the billionaire is a little over the top, because he doesn't realize that's the situation the Harvard students might be in. And it just so happens they joined those organizations. But I can also see where Bill's coming from, because it's like, if you want to join that company that has that ideals, then I don't want you over here. Like, I get that, company values. So it's really complicated to take a side here. I think I'm going to sit comfortably on the fence.
Billionaire hedge fund,
but I don't support the companies that if Hamas did do a horrific terror attack, I don't support those companies that support the terror attack. There's no.
Manager Bill Ackman is among wealthy business chiefs who say they want the students named and shamed so they don't get jobs. I am for this. I'll tell you what. The woke left has taken people's jobs and sponsorships and advertisers away with lies and manipulation. And now they will reap what they have wrought on themselves. Sorry.
Yeah, but I think you're jumping to it, Tim. I think you're jumping to it. Because the organizations are the ones doing the blaming. It doesn't say the Harvard students are doing the blaming. That's why they've been warned that they've just jeopardized their futures. Wait, what? Hold on. Harvard students have been warned that they have jeopardized their futures after putting out a statement blaming Israel for the horrific... Wait, so the Harvard students put out the statement? Or the organizations put out the statement and they just so happened to join them? What? This is confusing. Who did what? She did when?
Look, man, I said this a while ago. I will defend free speech for those who believe in free speech, and for those who request cancel culture and censorship, I will make your wish come true. So what do you think happens when you have far leftists saying only we should be allowed to speak? I say, no, you are more dangerous and shouldn't be allowed in that regard. Now, for the most part, I say that somewhat in a facetious manner. Right, there's certainly circumstances where I want the far left to say the things that they're saying. So I'm not going to tell BLM no more speech for you when they're outing themselves as violent extremists, right?
So funny thing about BLM, I lost a collage of friends when the whole BLM thing started. I tend to lean towards hanging out with those who have a more leftist viewpoint, just because I'm a very relaxed person, and that's who I tend to hang out with. So when the BLM happened, one of my friends was doing a sponsorship on their stream, and I asked them why. And they said the obvious. They wanted to support black people, and I'm like, but supporting BLM does not mean that you're supporting black people. And I'll stay out of your chat with this, but I'm gonna send you DMs on what I'm talking about. And I sent them this basically dissertation long proof after proof after proof of why you shouldn't do this, why it's probably not good for you in the long run. Proof that they had been embezzling and then all the bills that they had been backing, and then you know, and she also was a supporter of Biden, and so I sent her that proof, and basically, even though I presented a bunch of proof to her, she just threw it out. She didn't even consider it. She looked over it, and then she said something kind of backhandedly, like basically, okay, you can present me all the proof, but Trump is blah blah blah, and BLM is they would be arrested or shut down if they were really that bad. And I'm like, you just have no idea. And just like, after recently seeing that, you know, BLM is supporting, I guess, terrorists, I feel justified in the words that I say, but I still lost friends because they just were too bullheaded to accept my opinions on things. And this, it's messed up. It's all messed up. I just want to hang out with my friends, and all this leftist ideology crap is just getting in the way and ruining friendships and sometimes families, and it's disheartening and saddening. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that.
Statement by the Harvard Undergraduate Nepali Student Association. We regret that our decision to co-sign the latest PSC statement to call attention to historical injustices against Palestine, including us, continue to process the loss of those who have left us too early.
That sounds a lot like damage recovery in my head. That sounds like a half apology. That sounds like an apology that comes from a kid who got their hand stuck in the cookie jar. That's what that sounds like. That does not sound like a sincere apology. That sounds a lot like the boyfriend that goes, whoa, I didn't mean that. No, I didn't mean that. That's what that sounds like.
Culture war victory. You see, many of these people don't actually believe in Black Lives Matter, and I've warned them, the same as everybody else. Stop standing behind evil liars and manipulators because you think they have power. Because it is those who stand up for truth and justice who will prevail. And so what happened?
Okay. Back up, Tim. Back up. The vast majority of people are sheep. Okay? They just want to do what they do. Okay? They want to go to work. They want to come home. They want to game. They don't want to hear any of this crap. And so if they see their friends supporting, they're like, okay, sure. And they support. They don't really know what details are in it. They just support it. And that's how they get started. So, the heroes, the ones that stand up, the ones that say, wait a minute, this isn't right, they get sticks and stones and fucking shot at. Just like tons of bad things happen to them before the good things start happening. So, Tim, I understand what you're saying, but you have to understand that a giant portion of society just wants to do their job. They just want to live. They don't want to involve themselves in politics and justice and these social justice. They want to enjoy kayaking. They want to enjoy hiking. They want to be reasonable human beings that just have fun with each other. And they don't want to stress it all out. So I understand what you're saying, but you kind of... you got to understand that the heroes are gonna be few and far between, because it takes a special type of person to stand up.
We stood beneath the boot of cancel culture and these far-left extremists. They got preferential treatment, but now people are realizing who these extremists really are, and their power is being stripped from them. But all those who were collaborators, let me apply the same rules the far left would apply. We'll apply them to you. You collaborated with oppression, with extremism, with violence, with murder, with riots, and now you're starting to cry, oh no, you're not going to get hired. We see the cowards you really are. You didn't actually care for these causes. You were more terrified of those lunatics than you were of the sane, rational people who were trying to be reasonable with you. And so we get it. Those of us who don't want war with Israel or Palestine, who don't agree with everything Israel does, have legitimate criticisms of what Israel does, but understand that Hamas is killing civilians as a principal strategy for what they represent, and we condemn that outright. We try to be reasonable here. That's the conversation we have at Timcast. We bring on individuals who are pro-Palestine. Absolutely. Tell me your views. And Phil argues very, very passionately with Max. Because we want truth, but we want to be reasonable. Innocent people should not die. Israel, what do they say? They say, we will try to minimize casualties. Do they always? I don't know. There's criticism of it, right? They're allowed. You're allowed to criticize them. And a lot of people are upset. They feel they're not allowed to criticize them. Well, they should be allowed to criticize them. These people were cowards who thought they were standing by power and not truth. Because the far left said...
See, again, I have to disagree with you. I don't think that they're standing by power when they do that. I think what's happening is they think that their friends... So, one friend that they have joins them. It's like a virus. You have the person who has the original bad thought. And then you have the one friend who's like, I kind of agree with this guy. And then you have the friend who's like, I don't really agree with my friend, but he's my friend, so I'll put up with it. And now you have three people who look like they all believe in the same thing, but there's different levels of belief. And so friends join friends, and friends joins friends, and then you end up with this kerfuffle of a mess. That's why I'm saying that, Tim, you got to realize that it's only a small portion of fanatics, and then another bigger portion of people who are kind of in agreement, but don't really want to do anything about it, who just go, yeah, I kind of agree with you. And then another much, much bigger portion of, well, I don't really agree with them, but they're my friends. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they're not cowards, it's just how it ended up.
There is no truth but power, and these people believed it. Wake up call, truth prevails. The truth will set you free. And so now they're walking.
It's actually, you know what? Believe it or not, it's kind of how smoking happened, right? Because smoking wasn't all that. While it was in a lot of entertainment, smoking wasn't actually all that popular until we kind of banned pot. Once we banned pot, smoking skyrocketed, as far as I understand it. And a lot of people didn't like smoking. Smoking smelled bad. It didn't really make you feel good. It just calmed you down. And it dehydrated you. Like, there was a lot of bad things about smoking, but at least you could get a sense of calmness. Pot provided a sense of calmness. You'd have pot tea, and the tea would be just enough to calm you down and maybe make you hungry. Once we banned pot, then you had a vacuum. And so all the people who did believe in tobacco, the people who selling it, started pulling this trick. So it's like, that's kind of how the world goes round, Tim.
It back like cowards. Sure. Well, good luck. I'll leave it at that. Next segment is coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimCastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.
All right, another great episode, Tim. Again, I didn't really agree with a lot of what you said. Well, okay, I kind of agreed. It's just I didn't agree to the extreme that you did. But if you want to support Tim, he's a very fantastic person that has been doing this for years. I just react to his content because I watch a lot of his content. So if you want to support him, links down in the description. And I hope I'll see you next time. Man, you know what? What did you think about this? What did you think about what he said? And what did you disagree with what I was saying? Tell me in the comments. Until next time. Bye.